Have you ever been asked to give up the one thing you love most in the world? To trust a promise that seems impossible? This isn't just a hypothetical question. It's the true story of a man who left everything behind: his home, his family, his entire way of life, all for a promise from a voice he had only just begun to hear. His name was Abraham, and his journey would change the course of human history forever. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most foundational stories ever told, the life of Abraham. Whether you're familiar with his story or hearing it for the first time, there's something incredibly powerful here for all of us about faith, trust, and the courage to step into the unknown. Our story begins in a bustling ancient city called Ur of the Chaldees. Imagine a place filled with impressive architecture, vibrant trade, and a culture deeply rooted in worshiping many gods. Abraham, then known as Abram, lived here. He was a regular guy living a comfortable life. But then, something extraordinary happened. God spoke to him. God gave him a command that must have sounded insane. Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. Think about that for a second. No map, no detailed plan, just go. And in return for this blind leap of faith, God made a spectacular promise. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. So, at the age of 75, Abraham packed up everything, along with his wife Sarah, his nephew Lot, and all their possessions, and set out. Their first major stop was a place called Haran. This wasn't just a quick rest stop. It was a test of endurance and continued trust. They were moving further and further from everything they knew, guided only by a divine promise. This part of the journey shows us that faith isn't a one-time decision. It's a continuous walk, step by obedient step, even when the destination is unseen. Finally, they arrived in Canaan, the land God had promised them. Settling in this new land was the first physical sign that God's promise was beginning to unfold. It was a tangible symbol of hope. But the promise of becoming a great nation seemed distant. Abraham and Sarah were old, and more importantly, they had no children. How could a great nation come from a childless couple? This is where the story takes a deeply human turn. Years went by, and the promise of a son remained unfulfilled. Doubt and impatience started to creep in. Sarah, trying to help God's plan along, suggested that Abraham have a child with her servant Hagar. This led to the birth of Ishmael. This decision introduced incredible complexity and heartbreak into their family. It's a raw and honest look at how even people of great faith can stumble, make mistakes, and try to take matters into their own hands. The relationships between Abraham, Sarah, Hagar, and Ishmael are filled with tension and pain, highlighting the difficult realities of human nature. It reminds us that the path of faith is rarely a straight line. It's often messy and complicated. But God's plan was not derailed. When Abraham was 99 years old, God appeared to him again and established a formal covenant, a binding agreement. He promised that Sarah herself would bear a son, and his name would be Isaac. God also changed their names from Abram and Sarai to Abraham, meaning father of many, and Sarah, meaning princess. This name change was significant. It was a declaration of the new identity and destiny God was giving them. And against all odds, the impossible happened. A year later, Sarah gave birth to Isaac. This miraculous birth wasn't just a family joy. It was the definitive fulfillment of God's specific promise. Isaac represented hope, laughter, and the living proof that God is faithful to His word, even when it seems illogical to the human mind. The birth of Isaac cemented the covenant and set the stage for the future of Abraham's descendants. But the greatest test of Abraham's faith was yet to come. It's a moment in his story that is both terrifying and profound. After years of waiting for his precious son Isaac, the son of the promise, God gave Abraham his most staggering command: "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering." Can you even begin to imagine the anguish? This command seemed to contradict everything God had promised. Isaac was the future, the very child through whom the great nation was supposed to come. Yet Abraham's response is one of the most stunning examples of obedience in history. The very next morning, he set out on the 3-day journey to Moriah with his beloved son by his side. This journey is a powerful metaphor for walking through our darkest valleys. Along the way, Isaac, in his innocence, asks his father, "The fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham's reply is filled with a faith that is almost unbelievable. God himself will provide the lamb. When they reached the mountain, Abraham built the altar, bound his son, and laid him upon the wood. He raised the knife. In that heart-stopping moment, just as he was about to follow through, the angel of the Lord called out from heaven, stopping him. "Do not lay a hand on the boy," the angel said. "Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in a thicket, which he then sacrificed instead of Isaac. This ultimate trial reveals the core of Abraham's character. His willingness to sacrifice Isaac wasn't about a blind, unfeeling obedience. It was the ultimate act of trust. He believed so fully in God's power and goodness that he trusted God could even raise Isaac from the dead, if necessary, to fulfill his promise. This event solidifies Abraham's role as a model of faith, not a perfect faith, but a persistent and trusting one. So what can we learn from Abraham's incredible journey? First, true faith often requires us to step out of our comfort zones and into the unknown, trusting that we are being guided even when we can't see the full path. Second, God's promises may not unfold on our timeline, and waiting is a crucial part of the faith journey. Our attempts to help God can often lead to complications, but his ultimate plan remains secure. Third, faith is tested. The challenges we face, even the ones that seem to threaten the very promises we hold on to, are opportunities to deepen our trust and witness God's provision in miraculous ways. Abraham's journey shows that faith isn't the absence of trials, but the choice to trust through them. Finally, Abraham's story is a profound narrative of promise, sacrifice, and redemption. It shows that God's covenant is not based on human perfection, but on his faithfulness. Abraham is remembered not because he was flawless, but because he believed God, and that faith was credited to him as righteousness. His legacy as the father of faith echoes through Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, inspiring billions. His life is a testament to the idea that an ordinary person can have an extraordinary impact simply by taking God at his word. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the life of Abraham. If you found this story meaningful, please give this video a like and hit that subscribe button for more content just like this.